I did.
Did you hear from all your kids?
I did hear from all my children.
They still like you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
They, apparently, maybe.
Apparently, for now.
For now, for
when they
today.
don't, yeah, and they did it without needing anything.
Yes,
that's the best part
this is
about that
true.
day.
Yeah.
The only time they call you without needing anything.
That's great.
Well, that's cool. Good, good,
Yeah.
good. So you saw we have a new addition over there. That's Tristan. I know
Yes.
everybody can't see him, but
Welcome,
to the crew,
Tristan.
He's going to be helping out. He's got some, hopefully some good skills to bring into the team, so that'll be fun.
I already can hear verbiage I've never heard, so that's pretty good.
Right, right. Well, that doesn't, well, okay. All right, so I'm just kidding. So anyways, okay, so we have a new book.
I'm very excited.
And
What's the title, Chuck?
the book is called, Jenny?
Go yourself.
It's called UNF Yourself, all right? Because we can't say it because, I don't know,
No.
but we're in the Inland Empire out here. I feel like we can say it. Michael,
No,
can we say it?
No.
Okay.
it's 9
All right.
a.m. It's too aggressive. It's
All
very
right.
aggressive.
Well, it's UNF Yourself, Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life.
Yeah.
And it's by Gary John Bishop. And it has been enjoyable. It has been enjoyable. But the one thing that I will say about this book is, since we've done Eat That Frog, I'm reading, and by the way, if you guys are ever looking for an amazing book, I'm reading Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy right now. It is so powerful.
So is it his new book?
It's an old one, but
it's an
it's
old
like
book.
it's a compilation of his life. But Eat That Frog and Maximum Achievement and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule. And the one thing I will tell you, Jenny, is all of these books have a similar pattern, and they say similar things. And the funny part about it is I realize that a lot of people give me crap because they say, Chuck, you're saying the same thing over and over and again. Keep in contact with your clients, text them on the holidays, do this,
Yeah.
do that, blah, blah, blah. But there's a reason that we say that, and the reason that these books all have these similar themes, it's because it works. So, we have to look, why do all these top-selling books say the same things?
Yeah.
And so that being the case, some of it's going to sound similar to
Okay.
some of the things we've gone over before.
That's okay. We probably need to hear it again.
But I really liked the initial quote that was in this book. You guys
Okay.
ready?
Okay.
You ready? Okay, here it is. This is a conversational slap from the universe to wake you up to your true potential, to un-F yourself and get spectacularly into your life.
I love it.
So it's a universal slap. All right, that's what's happening. It's like,
Okay.
wake up, people. You know what? Wake it up. So that's kind of how it starts out.
Okay.
I'm like, okay,
I like it.
good start.
Yeah.
Good start. I can
Okay.
deal with that. All right. So, and then it starts right out with the first question, which is chapter 1. Have you ever felt like a hamster on a wheel, furiously churning your way through life, but somehow never really going anywhere?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that are doing that.
Yeah, totally.
Where you're trying to figure things out. You're trying to get better, but you can never get out from under your bills. You can never get yourself into the shape that you want to get yourself into. Maybe you can never make it to church enough. You can never get the car you want. You just continually stay where you are, just existing. And I think that's a pretty normal theme in most people's life.
I think so, too.
It's kind of like being caught in a constant loop. And he calls it a constant loop of internal chatter that we just hear. It's this little voice that keeps us where we're at and keeps us on that hamster wheel. And I kind of agree because I've been noticing this more and more. And it's this little voice inside people's head that's basically saying, "You're lazy, you're stupid, you're not good enough." Like I was talking to somebody yesterday, a good friend of mine, and he kept saying, "Well, I'm not a very smart guy, but." I'm stupid, I'm not as smart as you, I'm this, I'm that. But it just kept reinforcing in their brain, that I'm lazy, I'm stupid, or I'm not good enough, And I think a lot of people say that. And sometimes even when we're sitting at your desk or when I'm sitting at my desk, I'll be like, God, I'm so stupid sometimes, But that's really that little internal chatter that kind of keeps us down. I don't think you're going to
Totally.
see Elon Musk saying that.
No.
Or Bill Gates saying that.
No.
Hey, did you see that quote about Bill Gates and Bezos?
No.
And it says, if the two richest men in the world can't keep their bitches happy, then how the hell am I supposed to do it? No, that was a quote. That was not. I did not say that.
Oh God, that's so funny.
I didn't say that, but I mean, come on. How are we supposed to make this happen if they can't?
Because it's not
even do it?
about my.
Trouble, Chuck.
How? No, I didn't say that. That was a meme that Michael showed me. So anyway, but so we're caught in this internal loop. I don't know where
Yeah.
that came from.
I love
But this book's about people that are experiencing that self-defeating monologue. And people say, I don't talk to myself. Like, I don't talk to myself. Hey, Chuck, I don't talk to myself. What am I doing? I don't talk to myself. Do you talk to yourself?
Sure.
Well, right now, you guys out there, you're talking to yourself. I don't talk
Totally.
to myself. Do I talk to myself? What do I say to myself? You know what I mean? So, so just something to be aware. It's the way we talk to ourselves, and we all do it. So we talk to ourselves, and again, like I said, some of us are doing it right now, but we have thousands of thoughts per day, even when we're sitting here right now, even while you guys are wandering off, trying to pay attention to this, but you've got your phone going, you got a kid screaming in the back, you're still thinking like about what a rude comment I just made, about the F word that's in this book. So you're constantly having thousands and thousands of thoughts that's going through your head. And neuroscience and psychology suggest that the kind of talk you engage in literally determines the quality of your life. And you've seen me, like over the last couple of months, I have not been telling myself good things. You know what I mean? So and I'm getting better and better and trying to, but that's what's cool. That's one thing I'm going to say that we're going to get into is the power of thoughts, and that really all life is about what's going on in our brain and how we handle the circumstances around us. That's really what this is going to be about. But
okay.
So the language you use and what you tell yourself affects how you deal with your life and confront your problems. So, luckily though, positive talk can dramatically improve your mood, boost your confidence, increase your productivity, and more. Do you actually ever consciously talk to yourself?
Well, all the time, but like out loud? No,
At all? I mean,
no, all the time.
I think that might be what a mantra is, though. Right? A mantra is sitting there, you reading stuff to yourself over and over and over again.
And it's more like, I'm okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's gonna be fine. You're fine. You're okay.
That's probably why you have such a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's many years of therapy.
Are you being serious?
I was thinking about it last night. I was like, how many times? Here you go. How many times have I been to therapy? And then I mentioned the Alateen before, so it started there, and then teenager, and then through marriage counseling with the first husband, then after the divorce, and then in this marriage. You're always growing, and you always need to be open to what God is showing you and people to talk to help you through these hard times called life.
That being the case, and I got a really strange question for you guys. How many of you guys have actually been in any form of therapy? Anybody? Okay, there's one, two. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Anybody
there's
else?
3, 4.
Okay.
5,
all right.
6.
Hey, Jenny, we're not the only ones. Everybody's jacked up. Oh, thank you.
No.
I'm kidding.
Reverse that.
I know I'm kidding. I'm saying everybody needs help at some point.
Hold the book up.
Fine. Sorry. And some of it though, you find you get into that stuff and it ends up being, I don't know, I've gotten into situations too where I felt worse coming after that, coming out of it than I did going in.
For sure.
You're a disaster sometimes.
A disaster for weeks.
Yeah. So Michael, if you got the mic up, did you have something you want to say?
I'd say for our late joiners, can you share the name of the book and the author again?
Oh, you're just going to make me do that, huh? UNF Yourself by Gary John Bishop. Get out of your head and get into your life. And it is good, guys. I promise it's going to get good. All right, I'll get off the distraction. All right, so unfortunately, the negative stuff can do the same thing, right? When we're telling ourselves, but really, this isn't a book about positive affirmations or personal affirmations or anything. I think we've had enough of that, which is why we really have. But here's a quote I want to read with you. If human emotions largely result from thinking, then one may appreciate controlling one's feelings and controlling one's thoughts, and by kind of changing the internal sentences or self-talk with this is a confusing quote, but with the difficult ones that put us into our situation in the first place. So we have to learn to get rid of the negative ones and create positive ones. And so there is a little discussion about how you can do that.
Okay.
But I want to tell you, it's the people that say, I'm stupid. Like, I used to get mad at my kids because Ryan used to say that I'm not a good reader. Well, you say that, and next you're not a good reader. You know what I mean? But he can chew up any audiobook and retain everything. It's like God giveth and God taketh away, but the more anytime you ever hear anybody saying something negative, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, we have to stop them and say, you know what, that's not good for you. And then maybe they'll start picking up on it too. You know what I mean? So basically, how we think and talk about our experiences shifts the way we feel about them. So we have things that are coming in from the outside all the time and say, you know what, that's not good for you. And then maybe they'll start picking so we have things that are coming in all the time, right? So it's how we deal with those experiences, and it's the thoughts that we go through our head. So it's like when you get these panics or the anxieties or problems or self-defeatists or scared or whatever, it's just really how we're dealing with outside factors that we're seeing. And how we deal with, according to the book, how we deal with those things is, and is where the real success comes from. And he does quote a lot from Aristotle and Socrates and basically Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor like 2,400 years ago.
Okay.
And I got to tell you guys, is anybody here familiar with Marcus Aurelius at all? I see Steve is. Man, wow, some powerful stuff. And we're going to be talking about some of the things he said. So, but my question to you, have you ever said, I'm so stupid?
Oh, 100%.
Have you ever said, my life is over? Or, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me?
No, because then that's letting the universe know you can handle more.
But in the past, have you ever said it? This is the worst.
I'm sure I did as a teen. I'm sure.
And
I'm sure.
so if you think about some of the hardest things that ever happened to you, and this is what the book was suggesting, and you look back now, like think about some of the hardest things. It might have been your divorce. It might have been, I mean, it could be anything from, getting sick or whatever. But if you look back now, have you found that maybe we're overreacting?
Oh, yes, compared to so many other people's journeys, for sure.
We just seem to get caught up in these things where everything just seems so important. And I always, like when people panic, even on a deal, they'll call me up, you're not going to believe this.
But it's awful, you're in it.
But you're in it that moment. And I always like, a quote that somebody told me a long time ago is, nothing is ever as important as it first appears.
It's true.
And you think people care about you. They do for about 30 seconds until the next thing comes up on their social media feed. And, but it's just, we find that we're overreacting. And dramatic self-talk, like when we overdo it, like, oh my God, this deal is going to fall. I have to replace not only the FAU, but the unit outside. And you dramatize it, and you just become anxious, and you become more worried and more scared and more worked up. And I'm guilty of that too sometimes.
Yeah.
And it just creates like anger, sadness, and frustration. So we just have to really watch that dramatic self-talk. And do you remember how in some of the books it's talked about avoid people that are negative?
Yes.
Avoid people that that don't clap for you. Avoid people that bring you down. Avoid people that envy you. All that sort of stuff. Well, this one says that the real person you have to watch out for, even more important than any of those people, is that critical voice in your head. That little voice in your head that's telling you, Jenny, you're going to eat that donut. Or, I know you get all weird about certain things, and so do I. I have these little critical voices that are in my head too. But we have to watch out for that critical voice, because that's like somebody coming in from the outside putting us down, Whereas these really great people that are achieving these amazing things in society and in the world are, really, I don't think they're telling themselves that. I don't think they have that critical voice that's telling them they're stupid or that this is the worst thing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Or they're lazy or...
Yeah, just a thought. Does anybody out there struggling with that little voice in their ear? Is there anybody that's dealing with it? You are, Steve? Talk to me about it, man. I want to hear it.
Oh, all the time. I'm reading a book right now. It's on cognitive behavioral therapy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, basically, you're like, it's the same thing you're saying now. It's when these voices come in your head and they're always there, you have to basically prove evidence to the contrary to get them out of your head. There's like a whole thing on it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Anybody else? And what book is that, by the way, Steve?
It's I'm going to pull it up. It's cognitive behavioral therapy.
Cognitive behavioral therapy. That sounds fun. Isn't that weird? I must be getting old when that book sounds great. Ooh, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Good.
I got to have it.
You got to straighten your own head out before you straighten anybody else out.
Okay, Steve, you can send me the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, all right, we'll put it on the show.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, no, I'm with you, Steve. And so how language changes our lives.
Yeah.
This is what I thought was cool is what we say to ourselves in that moment not only affects us in the moment, but it affects us in our subconscious. When you go to bed that night or whatever. And unfortunately, what we say to us not only affects us in our subconscious, but in the long term of our lives. And that's the scary thing.
Right, our cells remember all those thoughts we have or something like that.
Yeah, and so that being the case, we have to just be really careful. Let's do that. Okay. Let's correct each other if we're ever negative, if we ever mumble ourselves to each other. You guys too, all right? You especially, Adam, because you always say, I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm that. No.
It's
and I just
annoying.
Want to slap the out of you, all right? With this book. I'm going to hit you with this one. I'm going to say, what does it say? Right in your head.
Yeah, but self-deprecation is common.
No. There is a difference between self-deprecating talk to make me chuckle.
For sure.
But I feel like you shouldn't even do it that way. You
I'll
shouldn't
lose so much laughter throughout the day. But yes.
If you can't make fun of people and yourself?
No.
He's right, though. Self-deprecation is funny.
No, but you're right. It's not healthy. It's not good. And just like sarcasm, it's not good.
So people that say, you know what, honestly, Jenny, life is unfair. Then you start to determine that it is. You start to believe that life is unfair. As opposed to the person that says, you know what, success is right around the corner. Good things are about ready to happen for you, Jenny. They're right around the corner. Big difference.
Yeah.
Life is unfair.
Yeah.
Success is right around the corner. So it's just trying to talk to you a little bit about self-talk. So
Totally.
here's the first quote from Marcus Aurelius, right? The Roman emperor. So
the Roman emperor.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was a very famous philosopher who became the emperor of Rome. Okay, so here's a rule to remember in the future, and it's kind of, his stuff is wordy, but here's a rule to remember in the future. When anything tempts you to feel bitter or upset, not this is misfortune, but to bear this worthily is good fortune. So what it's basically saying is, like when you feel like bitter, so you should be bitter, twist it and turn it and try to say, you know what, by dealing with this situation is a good fortune. By making it better, by thinking of it better, by looking at the positives in it. And by the way, his books are like fantastic. I almost would like to review some of it, but the problem is it's so wordy and like it's like kind of written like the old.
No, you have to reword it all first.
Yeah.
It's like the Bible.
It's
I'm
the old
like, I
biblical
don't know
stuff.
what they're saying.
And ye hence blah blah blah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he said he wants a sandwich.
Oh,
and they're like, well,
okay.
just say that.
Just say you want a sandwich.
Yeah. So, but anyways, all right.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Is anybody else just keep chuckling at Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? That's all I keep thinking when you say so great. That's all I keep thinking since you said that.
See, this is why Jenny is with me. Because of Socrates versus Socrates. No? All right.
No.
She brings it down to our level for sure.
See, there it is. There's the negative self-talk. Did you hear that?
I
That's
am
a good thing.
smart.
We're on a good level.
I am smart. I am not a simpleton.
You're not at all. Okay, so ready? Here's the next Marcus Aurelius Roman emperor quote.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. So if you don't think about it as being something that hurts you, then it no longer hurts you. So I know that sounds crazy, and I kind of redefined it. Events hold no power over us. We create our own reality with our minds. So events hold no power over us at all. What happens to us really doesn't matter. It's how our brain takes it in. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm really trying to train myself on, like even more is, we've talked about this a lot, and Brian and some of us, I mean, as you get older, Jacob, like this has maybe hasn't set in on you yet, but I know that the hard things that have hit me in my life, and there's 3 of them that I can really pinpoint that were absolute punches directly in the face. I know that those things are going to create a better me. I know that, so even when you're going through them, they're super painful, but you really do come out better on the other side, whether it's a divorce, whether it's, I mean, anything that it could possibly be, a really serious injury, loss of someone, like you just learn to appreciate things more. And, but while it's happening, you just see it as this horrible, horrible thing. But as we get older, we can start saying, like, I know I'm going to be better from this. Does that make sense?
For sure. For sure. It's all part of us. It's all part of our journey that we're supposed to be going through. And I may have been Brian King, I don't know who said it, but, we have to have those down times so we can really enjoy that. Yeah, really enjoy the good ones.
Hey, can I call bullshit on something right now?
Uh-oh.
I'm going to call bullshit on something right now. Dana, Brian, let me look at Steve, Vicky Carpenter, Duffy, George Williams, all of us. Life was supposed to get easier as we got older.
I know.
You calling me old? You calling me old?
Dude, I am. But I don't know what it is, man. Like, we were supposed to be like sailing into these amazing years. Oh, you're in your 40s now, dude. We're just going to chill. Guess what? It gets worse.
No, the bigger your kids, the bigger the problems.
No, it gets better.
See, okay, all right, I like that. Oh, here, and I asked one of my friends, and he's older, he's like 70, and I said, man, I said, Mike, is it great, man, that that your kids are older and you don't have to worry about them anymore and all that sort of stuff? And he said, no. And I said, why? And he goes, because anything that happens to them now, the problems are bigger. And I'm like, what? He goes, now it's like they're divorced, they got a DUI, they did this, they did that, they're bigger problems. And I'm being negative. Am I doing negative self-talk?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
That was good.
Monday demotivation, baby.
Yeah, my demotivation.
All right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
I don't want to hear you criticize me ever again, Chuck.
All right, fine. And you do look great for 35, Brian. You look really great for 35. All right. So that's that. So it's not that you have to find the answer in all these situations, problems. You are the answer. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
So we just have to train our brains and realize that if you take everything in with a positive attitude and looking at it like Marcus Aurelius said, it's not the injury, the injury will disappear, then we can stop looking outside and realize that it's all right here. It's how we take it. Change the lens you look through. I like that, Jacob. I mean, that's really what it is it's just kind of putting that, romper, bumper, stomper, boo. Probably, a lot of people don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But stop looking outside yourself, and start looking inside. So, and it says, kind of retrain your brain one word at a time. talk to yourself in a helpful way, not a harmful way. No more negative self-talk. I know, Vicki. What are you, jumping on late? Is that what you're talking about, me or just in general? Are you going to stick to that too, General? Vicki, is that what you're saying?
No, there has been a couple of books out that I've read about negative self-talk, and it's interesting how much I see it in others and myself.
Right. Well, we just got to fix that, you know, and it would be interesting to sit around some of these Bill Gates and Bezos and all that guy and wonder, do they do that too? You know?
Yeah.
Or do they worry about that?
But do we even care if they do?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's something that's holding us back.
And the reason I say that is because, are they happy? Are those people truly happy?
I can tell you right now, Gates probably isn't.
Right.
I mean,
exactly. He wasn't even with his family on Mother's Day. They all went to an island, you know. I know useless things. Yes, I know nothing important. Socrates. That's all I got.
Wow.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm actually sorry to hear that for him.
I don't
even know him, and I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I want to know what the people who are truly happy, like who are mostly happy, I want to know what they're thinking, what they're doing. You know, sorry to.
Well, let me know if you come across any.
I know.
I'm kidding. All right, so but basically,
negative self?
I know I'm kidding.
Wow.
It's a joke. I know. All right, I'm stopping that. I'm stopping. So, but basically, talk to yourself in a helpful way, not a harmful way, right?
Yes, you are the answer.
You are the answer. You are the answer. So remember, you know, no matter how difficult, challenging, or pressing life circumstances can be, how you fundamentally relate to engage in those circumstances will have the biggest say on how they turn out. So, you know, the answer is inside you. You know.
Which I
know.
love
Hey,
that.
Michelle, Tony Robbins, and Steve Harvey. I agree with this. Say, you know, more money, more problems. I think Biggie Small said that too. But you're right, Michelle. You're right. So anyways, assertive versus narrative. This was the next section.
Okay.
So assertive means it's where you cast all of the default noise beside.
Okay.
You know, you get all the noise and the confusion and all that sort of stuff. You throw that aside and you say, I'm going to assert my power right here, right now. And I'm going to tell you how we do that. Versus narrative, which means, you know, I should do this. I should try to do this. You know, I'm going to do this. You know, I will do this. But assertive is how you need to be. Which
that was me, by the way. I think I'll do that.
I'm going to
do
thinking
that.
about it.
Yeah.
So, but here's assertive talk. You ready, Adam?
Yeah.
I am. I embrace. I accept. I assert. And I'm very upset because my mantra says I will. So I'm thinking, do I have to redo the whole damn thing now? You know, I will, you know, blah, 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 blah. So, but it's, you know, and I agree with this. You know, you have to be assertive and you have to speak in definites. You know, you have to speak in definites.
Okay.
So the next section is, you know, I am willing. And it talks about, you know, to stop blaming luck for the good things that have happened to you. Stop blaming other people for the bad situations. Stop pointing at outside influences and circumstances. And here's a big one. Okay, ready? Here's where I started to really like the book. You have the life and are living the life that you're willing to put up with.
Amen.
You're living the life, Adam, that you're willing to put up with.
Amen.
So are you, Tristan. You know, so you have to look at it and say, where I'm at is where I'm willing to be. Now, you're going to maybe reach that point where you go, I'm not willing to be this anymore, and you're going to move on. But
I deserve more.
But looking at that life that you have, what are the problems or the shadows in your otherwise good life that you do need to deal with? Are there things in there that you really can't deal with? And you got to find those and tackle them. But I like that. You have the life you're willing to put up with.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Michael, you like that one? I mean, it's true, right? And what it means is, do you hate your job? You know, are you unhappy with your relationship? You know, what are the shadows and problems? You know, do you have bad health? What are those little pieces? And again, like wherever you are with your health, for example, it's where you're willing to be.
Yeah.
It's where you're willing to be. And your relationship, if you're not happy in your relationship, well, guess what? It's where you're willing to be.
Yep.
If you don't like real estate, well, too bad, you're here. And it's where you're willing to be. So, you know, and so, but by defending your circumstances, well, you know, I didn't have this opportunity or blah, 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 or whatever, you know, like, you know, you're basically defending your circumstances is basically making a case for where you are too. Just now I'm going to validate it. And there's another philosopher that his name is Epictetus, and it says
Socrates.
Circumstances don't make the man; they only reveal him to himself, man or woman, right? So
That's good.
So like, you know, if you're going through hell or this or that or whatever, like, all it's telling you is you get to reveal who you are and how you handle it and all that sort of stuff, you know. And so circumstances don't make the man; they only reveal him to himself.
I like that.
And the next one says, you know, you cannot dwell in the blame game in your life.
So true.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, you can blame others and do this, but here's the part that really threw me for a loop. Even blaming yourself is useless. So by saying, you know what, like, this is me,
Yes.
because things will happen that you can't control too.
Right.
Tragedies, disabilities, disease, death, those are things, there are a lot of things that are out of our control. So you can't blame yourself for those things that are out of control. And I think this is where it comes down to the UNF yourself, is you have to realize that no matter what, there are things that are out of your control that you cannot control.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does anybody have any opinions on that? Feel free to chime in. And then it moves on to a section where it says, you have to be willing. So we know that you can't control certain factors in your life, but you can 100% control the aftermath of those events and how you control the aftermath. So it basically ends with you and how you deal with each one of these things, which is kind of the theme, right? It's the theme of this book is whatever happens, how you deal with that with your thoughts is going to determine basically how positive and healthy you're going to be and how you can dig yourself out of these situations. So, you know, you can control the aftermath, and again, it ends with you. And that being the case, as you change your attitude and as you look at it that whatever comes my way, I'm going to stay positive, I'm going to address it, I'm going to do the best I can, you create a bold willingness to accept what's next and be ready for what's next. And, you know, this is a big one for me, having a willingness to change, a willingness to let go, and a willingness to accept, you know, all of the different things that happen. And having a willingness to change when situations happen to you and to grow and to get better from them, you know, to let go of the situations and realize like, okay, that's in the past now or whatever, gotta make it. And then a willingness to accept it and say, okay, I've learned from that. I'm different now, I let it go, and I'm accepting the situation.
Let it go.
You know, whatever it may be.
Yeah, whatever it may be.
And, you know, then things become real according to, you know, the book, real, magical, and inspired willingness, you know, so kind of interesting thought.
Magical and inspired willingness.
Right. So fate, this is another philosopher.
Okay.
Fate leads the willing. Oh, you know, fate leads the willing.
Oh,
but it also drags along the reluctant. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
You're coming.
Yeah.
You know, caveman, we got your hair, you know, but so fate leads the willing but drags the reluctant, you know, and basically what it means is, you know, you can either ride along and help control that destiny and have the positive attitude, or it's going to control you. And it keeps coming back to that, my favorite quote, which is either the day runs you or you run the day.
Right.
It's the same with your life and your destiny. Either your life runs you or you run your life, you know, so, and just the best way to run your life is to just be ready and accept what's happening and go into it with the right attitude and the right plan.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes you can write down plans and your life is completely different 5 years from now. That's your life right now, Dana? I feel ya. Are you taking control though? You want to share it with the class? Share it with the class, Dana. Come on, unmute. Let's hear it.
I said I was so happy Dana was on today.
Enlighten us, Dana.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, everyone knows that we moved to LA, and, you know, I had like a really stinky attitude about it, actually, for almost a year. And I decided one day, my nephew's friend said, Miss Dana, what are you going to do better this year on your birthday? Like, what are you deciding? And then I said, like, I'm going to decide to like Los Angeles. Like, I'm going to like to live here. And so I did that, and it completely changed my attitude. I mean, some days I still am like bummed out that this is my life, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy, and I try to look at all the benefits of living in this place.
You've changed your attitude and your outlook and accepted it and rolled with it, and you know, I like that. Good job. Good. I mean, and even if you don't mean it, at least you're tricking your brain into it. I like it, because there's still a little hesitancy there.
That is true. I also tricked my brain into saying that I like exercise. So I like where I live, and I like exercise now. And I mean, I kind of joke about it, but honestly, I do believe that having that intent in my mind, like I am accepting it and I am doing it, it's working out. So
good for you, Dana.
Love it. Yay, Dana.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next quote now.
Okay.
Life won't stop for your pauses and your procrastinations or confusion or fear. It's going to continue right along without you.
It does.
Because I don't know. I'm about ready to have another birthday here, and I could have sworn I just had a birthday. I mean,
I know. I feel like you did.
It just keeps charging. You know what I mean? So life won't stop for your pauses and procrastinations or your confusion or your fear. It's going to continue, and that's why, you know, I like that it says, you know, fate's either going to bring you along and you're going to have a good time, or it's going to drag your ass along.
Yeah.
So you know what? You better have the right attitude. And then it talks about, okay, so we've been talking about being willing to do this, and now we're going to talk about unwilling. It says that we reach a point where we're unwilling to simply exist. and we begin to feel unsatisfied and unfulfilled. And maybe that's when we go get in shape. Or you reach that moment, and you've done that many times in your life, right? Where you're like, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. You know, and only when, and here's the quote, now don't judge me, the book says this.
Okay.
Only when you're unwilling to put up with the bullshit anymore will you grab the shovel and start digging.
True. Preach.
You know what I mean? Only when you just reach that bubbling over point, you know, where you pick up that shovel and start digging. I liked that. And that's where it talks about you do reach a point where I'm at my wit's end. I am unwilling to deal with this sort of situation anymore. You know, and I can feel that in my life right now with a couple things that are going on. Like, I'm unwilling to deal with the circumstances that are going on, and I'm going to move forward. And then it's now, you know, how do you do that and all that sort of stuff. But you just reach that unwilling point, you know. And here's another quote from another philosopher.
Okay.
I've been trying to make these easier, though. So this is about the power of purpose. And we always talk about purpose. But, you know, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for the things which he has. So as we move on, now he's basically saying, like, however, we do need to be more positive about the positives of our situations.
Gratitude.
And less about the things that are grieving us and that we don't have, and the negatives and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, gratitude and appreciation and all that sort of stuff. So again, like I said, common themes in these books.
Yeah, totally.
Common themes, you know.
So they must work.
And now it moves on to chapter 3, which is, am I wired to win? And it says, the truth is, you are winning at the life you have. You are wired to win. Now, I don't know if I like this word win as he gets into this chapter, because there's some stuff that'll rattle you.
Uh-oh.
But it says, am I wired to win? The truth is, you're winning at the life you have. But like, there's a section coming up that I did not like, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
That means we'll all probably really like it, probably.
Maybe, but you know, what if I
We'll let
told
you know.
you that even when you think you're losing in life, you're actually winning?
Yes.
And that everything that happens is really a victory. That's what he's saying. So we think we're losing, we think bad things are happening, but really it's setting you up for a victory. But here's the stuff that like kind of threw me a little bit.
Okay.
You know, and this is true though. I mean, everybody on this call, I'm looking at Brian Keene, I'm looking at, you know, Jacob's been in the military and all this different stuff. Like, you are a champion. You too, Steve Batiste. I mean, you're a champion, and you've knocked out goal after goal in your life. I'd say most everybody on this call, I mean, I'm looking at everybody. They're all sitting in nice houses. They all have nice clothes on. You know, you are a champion, you know, and have knocked out goal after goal. Most things you set your mind to in your life have happened for you. Would we agree, Jenny? Most of the things, you have a beautiful house. You got a great husband. Your kids are all grown. You know,
What was that? I wasn't listening.
you want me to tell you again, man?
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, you're a champion, brother. You know, and you've knocked out goal after goal, man, in your life. And that's why you're sitting there. I met his girlfriend. She's really sweet. He's got it all going on, right? I mean, he's got goal after goal that he's hitting.
We
right?
should go through all these 80 people and tell them, you are a champion, you are a champion.
Well, I mean, look at Brian Keene. You know, Brian
Yeah.
Keene had a great career in law enforcement, is having a great career in real estate, has got a very successful
Wonderful
wife,
family.
has great kids, you know, so everything that's been thrown in front of him, hitting it, goal after goal after goal. You know, most things you set your mind to have happened, right? So, you know, however, he's going to give an example now, and this one actually hit home to me, so I'm going to share it. He gave an example of relationships.
Okay.
And he said, you know, if you're one of the people that have had a cycle of breakups, you know, or maybe you've been in a couple of breakups and the relationships have never materialized. I've met people that have been married 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. I mean, we have people on the call that have. You know, but a cycle of breakups, relationships that never materialize. And, you know, so let's say that, you know, they're telling themselves, you know, will anyone ever love me? Am I worthy of being loved? You know, and why do I continue to attract the same type of people? So someone is telling themselves that, right? Will anyone ever love me? Am I worthy of being loved? You know, why do I attract the same type of people? And then someone comes along, and you know, could this be the one? You know, and things are going great. I like them. You know, you're starting to move forward, and next thing you know, you're starting to say, "I love you." Right? Big deal. But then all of a sudden, you start to begin that maybe it's not working, Jenny. Maybe there's something not working, and then it fails. You know, and they call it a win. He calls it a win. Okay, but I don't know if I like him calling it a win, because the thing is, the reason that these relationships keep failing is because you're wired that way. Okay, so it could be from a previous bad breakup, a turbulent childhood, you know, something deep within your subconscious, but you know, you send something out into the universe by saying those things that I just said. Will anyone ever love me? Am I worthy of being loved? In a sense, you kind of sabotage yourself.
Absolutely.
But it's because of the way you're wired. So really, this is showing how important being wired can be in the reverse, in the bad way. Because I had to read this chapter twice to understand this. So, you know, it's, you know, just, you set yourself up, and even for the next relationship for somebody like this, if you don't fix that wiring and readjust your wiring,
Totally.
you're going to get right back into that situation again.
That's why I went to counseling after Jeremy and I got married. I had to go by myself again, so I did not do the same things.
Did you feel yourself doing the same things?
Yeah, totally. And I took so much baggage from the other. And Jeremy's like, hey, I didn't even do that.
Right. Well, that baggage, that sabotage, same thing here.
Yeah.
You know, I have done the same thing. You know what I mean? And then, but you were smart enough to know you needed to go get rewired.
Yeah. Or someone was smart enough.
Somebody told you to go do that. Yeah. So basically, we're living out the thoughts that we set in our head.
Yeah.
You know, and it's because of that preset wiring. You know, but even if that is the situation, and that's how he wants you to start looking at your life, is that every little situation, even if it's a repeat of bad things, shows the power of proving that your wiring is working. And if you shift that wiring and reset that wiring, like the relationship thing, you know, you can fix those, and then certain beliefs will prove you right again and again and again in a positive way.
I got it. I finally got it.
So it's just, it took me a while. That's why I had to read it 3 times, you know. So, you know, by saying I'm not worthy of love, you know, or I'm not smart, or I'm a failure, you know, you are rebuilding that wiring. And it says, you know, or here's another big one, and this is one I think we all need to be aware of. You too, Steve, and I'm not making fun of you, dude, but I'm saying I'm talking to anybody at any age, okay? But here's something people say. I'm not as capable as I used to be. I'm not as energetic as I used to be. You know, like a lot of people as they get older start also taking their minds down those paths, thinking that I'm not where we can be as vibrant. We can be. I got as much energy today as I did when I'm 30. You know what I mean? But
I don't say that, Chuck.
You don't, or you do?
No.
I mean, oh, well, you don't. So, well, yeah, I mean, and again, like I said, the cool part about life and how long we live now is our prime is much later.
For sure.
I mean, Jenny, you're in your prime.
I'm 65 and I'm in my prime. I'm ready to go.
You're not 65.
No, 50,
you're only
63,
right?
63.
Wait, how old are you? Oh.
I think I'm 51.
I know.
I think I've turned 52.
Oh, okay. So
I don't even know.
You're 51. Your birthday's coming up. So now we have to focus on figuring out how to prove those preset beliefs wrong. You know,
I like it.
And wiring ourselves to win. So this means filling our buckets with the right ideas.
Okay.
And here's a good way to start. So he suggests think about areas you would like to change. So what areas would you like to change in your life? You know, and I can always think of what some of yours are, but where would you like to see progress? And it's funny, it goes right back to eat that frog. You have to decide what you want to change and then create the mile markers. Remember the gas barrels in Afghanistan or whatever that they would
each
measure?
5 miles.
And you kind of take a bite out of where you want to go every time. But the hard part is you have to overcome those past conversations.
Yeah.
So if you've been telling yourself, like, I can't get in shape, no matter how hard I try, I just can't lose weight, I can't do this, I can't do that, it's just jacking up your wiring.
Totally.
And it just keeps coming and coming and coming. So we have to, so not only the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and all that other stuff, you and I have to make sure we don't talk negative talk in the office anymore.
Amen.
Adam?
No
you
mas.
too. No mas. No mas. You know, and it'll take a lot to get those out of our ingrained psyche.
Yeah.
You know, thinking, imagining, commitment, you know, redefining our wiring. But my favorite part is, you know, the more aware you become of your hardwiring, the more space and opportunity becomes available to fix it. So, you know, kind of trying to figure it out and change it. So, and everyone has their problem, and life's not going to be perfect, and it never will be.
No, and that's part of it, and it's okay.
Yeah, and there are difficult times that are going to hit all of us, you know, and you know what? Let's do this, guys. And this is another life lesson, right, that I see. If you see somebody out there, and I've said this before, that's going through a divorce, that's going through a breakup, that's been laid off, that, you know, has some health issues going on, has had some
Lost
difficulties
someone.
with losing someone in their family or whatever it may be, like, go out there and make them feel better. Let them know that you're there for them. I'm going way off, you know, course here, but that little thing can, you know, and I ran into somebody the other day that I didn't even know was going through a divorce, you know, and I went in and I sat down with them for just a minute and I just said, I am so sorry for what you're dealing with, because unless you've ever been through one, it's the hardest thing you'll ever go through. A divorce and a breakup is the hardest thing you'll ever go through in your entire life, I think, because they're still here. You know, but I just went in and I said, if you need to grab a beer, if you need to do this, if you need to do that, you know, just let me know if you want to talk about it, whatever it may be. And it really can make such a massive impact on that person's life if you can help them and recognize it, because the struggle is real.
No, because I think we are also scared of saying the wrong thing to the people who have lost someone or going through a divorce or they
That's why
have
people
cancer.
don't say shit.
I know, and then it's worse. It's even worse. So for those of you who've gone through stuff like that, let us know what to say. But I guess it's different for every person. But yeah, we have to reach out, and even I guess if we say the wrong thing, at least they know we're thinking of them.
Right. So, you know, so that being the case, you know, the difficult times when you thought you were a little down, a little defeated, and feel like nothing's going your way. When that happens, you just have to realize that it happens, and that's when we have to take control and stay positive. And it could be something minor. I lost my sunglasses. My dog chewed up my backyard. And unfortunately, from this, it says that it's contagious.
Oh,
so when something happens in the morning and sends your day in a wrong direction, next thing you know, the problems spread and they get worse and they get worse. So we have to positively go after that issue right away and get it out of our life.
That's so true.
And here's some things people say that he says is just the kiss of death. Life is too hard. I'm never going to make it through this. Everyone's a jerk. I'm done with this shit. Like all those sorts of things just take you down a rabbit hole and make it even more negative. So,
do you think people learn that from their parents?
You're basically saying I learned that from my parents.
Well, no, because we didn't talk like that.
Oh.
So that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if that's something we learned. What do you guys think? Is that because? Is that where we grew up, or is it in us, or self? Actually, I have a kid who is like that, and he wasn't raised like that. So maybe it is
wiring.
It's
just how they've wired themselves. But there's generally something that they can trace it back to. Something that happened.
Ouch.
But
parent failure again.
So I have another quote from Socrates, as you call him.
Okay.
So, and it's basically we need to change, it to what's called the "I got this" assertion. So I got this.
I got this.
I got this.
I got this.
Michael, I got this. Okay. So if all our misfortunes were laid in one common heap, everybody, all our shit was all thrown, right here in a big pile, where everyone has to take an equal portion back, most people would be content and very happy to take back their own problems and leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you want my problems, Jenny?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
God, no.
But most people would just be willing to take them back and leave.
I'll take mine any day.
So that's another thing to think is like, are your problems really that big? I don't know. Adam was making fun of me the other day. So great. I'm going to share this with everybody. So I have a little issue going on, a little personal issue going on, right? And Adam came over to my house and we were doing virtual reality and stuff. And I was just getting really down on myself about something that was going on. And he goes, dude, it must be nice. And I go, what's that? And he goes, it must be nice to have to be able to have an existential crisis, to be able to sit here and wallow and worry about this. He goes, sitting here living in your ivory tower with your great sons and, all this and that. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. He was just reminding me that,
It's a matter of like, how you say, you're not supposed to say, I have to do this. You say, I get to do this. You change your existential crisis to, I have to have one too. I get to have an existential crisis.
He's like, most of us are worried about paying our bills.
What a blessing that is.
Getting gas in my tank, and you're sitting there, having an existential crisis. It was pretty funny. I want you to know I laughed about that all weekend. I even told my mom.
So good.
My mom laughed her ass off at me too, so thanks.
Good.
So, basically our own problems are pretty insignificant compared to the rest of the world, especially living here in this, in real estate and in Southern California and, so.
In the United States of America.
Yes. So basically, get connected to your reality. It says, your real life instead of your emotionally soaked self-talk narrative about your life, and just quit feeling sorry for yourself, and avoid, this is a big one. Avoid the creeping specter of negativity.
Say that again?
Avoid the creeping specter of negativity, that just kind of creeps into your head and takes you down those rabbit holes.
Yes.
And I liked this. So if any of you guys are dealing with any problems or issues out there, this is one thing that I really liked. He said, like most people be like, get in there. If you got a problem, you got to get in there. You got to fix it. But a lot of times he suggests that that's not the problem. He says, so if you have a problem, and I like this because, this was applying to some of the stuff I was dealing with, take a step back. Now your life is a little bit bigger. Take a step back. Take a step back, take a step back, take a step back, and then you'll realize how minor that little problem is. There's oceans in your life, there's bridges, there's mountains, there's magic, there's all these different things. But if you really want to get over that little issue, you just have to try to just continually step back from your life and look at it. Peter Mendiola, whenever there's something going on in his company, he always says, I'm going to take a look at this from the 30,000 mile up view. He says that all the time because then you can take a different perspective on that little problem. So I really liked that one, just to take a step back, And when you take a step back, also try to look at the positives, like your baby being born, the graduation of your son when he got in college, the Coast Guard, when my son got into the Coast Guard, or, my daughter when she got her prom dress, just there's hundreds and hundreds of things when you step back that are positives to look back on, and so you have to just focus on looking at those positives from that 30,000 mile view too. And also, here's another way to look at it, Jenny, is look at all the things you've overcome. Look at all the things you've overcome. I mean, you've been through divorces. You've, had depressions. And me too. Like we've all had all these things happen.
Everyone's gotten over, even something as simple as like these agents who got their license during COVID. They all had a different type, and all of you are trying to make it happen through that COVID. You know, that's a real accomplishment.
It is, you know, and so we've just had hundreds of problems in our lives, and even those major problems, you know, seem different today. You know, you look back now and you're like, okay, you know, was it that big? But they shaped us into who we are today. Yeah. You have a great appreciation for Jeremy because of what you went through in your first marriage.
Amen.
You know, I mean, so all those sorts of things. So, you know, I liked that one a lot. And, you know, so it's just looking to the future, there's also going to be a lot of really wonderful, amazing things to come.
Yes.
New relationships with people you haven't met yet. Doing things you've always wanted to try, that is going to happen. You know, your first kiss with the next person you're attracted to if you're single.
I was going to say, I don't get to do that.
Watching your children grow up, you know, and watching them succeed, hopefully. You know, and so that's the positives. But, you know, again, it won't always be puppies and rainbows, as Lance says.
That's so funny because I really want a puppy, so it's funny you say it's not always puppies.
And rainbows. So, you know, defeat, fights, fears, you know, and guess what? You're going to die someday.
Yeah.
And so is everybody around us, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, people will leave your life as quickly and as easily as they came into it.
I've been having a hard time with that lately.
I know you have. I've been watching you struggle with that.
Yeah, that's really hard for me.
You just got to remember, everybody's passing through. Some people just stay longer.
Yeah, that's rough.
You know, and people are here, right, for three things: a reason, a season, or for life. And once you kind of deal with that, but, you know, and guess what? You're going to lose money.
Yeah, this is true.
You're going to break things.
This is true.
And there's a chance that your dog will die. You know,
it's the truth.
It did happen to you, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, so there's still going to be that rough stuff, but we'll get through it.
Yeah,
You know, and it's just, everything is just another passing scene in the movie of Jenny and Chuck's life, and Adam's life, and Michael's, and Keen's, and Steve's, and Jacob's, and, you know, Corey's, and Dana. And we just have to remember, you know, that, and this is I think the last, you know, Greek quote here is, it's during our darkest moments, this is from Aristotle, it's during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. You know, and it gets dark sometimes. And then you got to see, like, oh, what's that? And go that direction.
And think about those little lights, this little light of mine.
Right. And here's the exercise, is it says, you know, it says to take a moment to think about what you're currently dealing with today. Does anybody have any struggles out there that they're dealing with right now? I'm sure everybody does. I'll bet you every person on this call has something in their life that they're dealing with, you know. But here's the good part. Your boat's been around for a lot of years. My boat's been here for 48 years, and it's not easily sinkable, right?
It's like your boat, but I got it.
You know what I mean? You're a 95-year-old mom, right, Elizabeth? I mean, but your boat's been around, and it's not going to sink. And there'll always be waves, and there'll always be storms. And in that life, we may get seasick, you know, but our life just continues across the ocean, you know. The train keeps going, right, Jacob? And so as you're going through the storms and all that stuff, you just have to do your best to not be tossed around. You know, and be a good captain and steer your life back into the direction that you want to go to with that boat, you know, and try not to get blown off course, because we're going to. You know, and this is funny, you'll like this one. One of the biggest quotes in here is, don't let your relationship troubles affect your mood at the office. You like that? Don't let your relationship troubles affect your mood at the office.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it affects everyone. Remember, when you pop in, you can say you're going through, you know, vent a little bit, but then move on. Life is good. We're so fortunate.
Nobody wants to hear your crap.
No.
Get your mood out.
Your ivory tower.
What? Existential crisis. All right. So, you know, it basically says that you just have to work through your problems as they come in that boat, as they show up, one by one, pragmatically, and with the solution in mind. Because everything is solvable. And this is good. You'll love this. Ready? Everybody, just if you hear one thing, listen to this one.
Okay.
Everything is solvable. Just because you haven't seen the solution, it only means you haven't worked it out yet.
Yes.
Everything is solvable. Just because you haven't seen the solution, it only means you haven't worked it out yet. I like that.
I like that a lot.
I mean, that's a good
It makes me think about real estate deals.
Oh, for sure.
It all can be worked out, and just talk.
Right. I mean, true. And again, when you look at these problems, remember to try to zoom out from the problems and look at it from the big picture point of view.
I like that a lot.
Because as you're in it and you're down in it, your mind plays tricks on you. It makes it harder, and you get sucked in, and you know all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, here's one other quote. That's one of the peculiar things about bad moods. We often fool ourselves and create misery by telling ourselves things that are simply not true. Some of the things that put us into bad moods are simply not true. You know what I mean? They simply are. I mean, so again, just take another step back, take another step back, take another step back, and try to get rid of that emotional anchor, you know, and see your problems cleanly, clearly, and fairly. And once you do, you can start realizing, I got this.
I got this. I like that quote. I got this.
Yeah, I got this. You know, so, you know, whenever it's happening, you know, you can handle it. It's not going to kill you. Your life isn't over. You know, you have plenty left in your tank. Plenty left in your tank. Your solution doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
It just means you have your hands on the wheel right now. You know,
Okay.
you're trying to figure things out, and it's not always pretty and it's not always fun. You know, but keep your hands on the wheels. You know, and get in touch with really, you know, kind of who you are, and say it one more time. Ready? I got this.
I got this.
I got this. And I got this.
I got this, guys. You got this?
So, you know, basically, that's it. I mean, does anybody have any comments on this? I will tell you this, Jenny, the next half of the book is badass. This was just leading up to the second half, which I was very excited about.
No, it's a lot. It's good, though, because we're all in this, and I think we all need to learn how to speak more kindly to ourselves.
For sure, for sure.
Because if you're on this call, you're rock stars. You totally are.
Chuck,
Yes, sir, Steve.
so Chuck, can I share
I would
real
love
quick?
it. I would love it, man. Bring it.
So, I'm like, this is like perfect timing. When I don't know if anybody, I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was 8, my mother committed suicide. So I've dealt with, it's like a therapy session. Sorry.
No,
But
I
I've
love
dealt
it. Bring
with abandonment issues. So I've been divorced 3 times, and I finally met someone that I'm really into, and I don't want to screw it up. That's why I'm reading that book, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. And you know, everything happens for a reason, and I'm really thankful, you know, to be on this call and hear this, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, you know, Steve, I mean, the nice part is, like you said, but so this fourth person or this fourth situation, I mean, you're just rewiring, right?
yeah.
I mean, you're rewiring and looking at the positive in people, and you know, knowing that I got this, I'm ready to, you know, be happy and do the right things, and you know, and overcoming that circumstance, you know, with your mom and stuff. No matter what happened with your mom or things that have happened in my life with, I mean, both my grandma and grandpa did the same thing. You know, I mean, it's just life, both of them. And you know, but you realize that it's not that they did that as much as it is how we handle it. You know, and how it molds us into, you know, being who we want to be and being the best versions of ourselves, and understanding that situation, and maybe looking out for people that have depression so that we can be there for them.
Yeah.
You know, and all that sort of stuff.
You think like it, but you know, I mean, this happened when I was 8 years old, so I'm 54 now, and you think you have it like whooped, and then in your head, I mean, like you said, it's like the caged monkey in your head is constantly telling you this and that, and you know, and you sabotage yourself.
I agree. Well, and that's,
You know, and you have to like bring it back in. You know, it's hard.
It is, you know, and one of the other problems, Steve, is, you know, it is funny that as you start getting into your 40s and 50s, you start, even though it's further away, we start thinking about our childhood more.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really creepy, because you would think you're able to move on, and maybe that's part of why I was saying, like, life gets harder, but, you know, it's not even harder, it's just you just, you know, it's like you get in this huge learning phase.
Yes.
Like your 40s and 50s and 60s, it's like, I'm learning more now than I've ever learned. So
It's really cool.
the learning never stops.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree, Jenny?
I agree. And I do love that part about getting older. I don't love the gray hair and the wrinkles, and I'm not going to embrace that. But I do love learning and accepting that type of thing. But you got this.
What's the saying? Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Once you start to learn more and more, you start to think more and more, and
Yeah.
you know, then all of a sudden,
I know, Steve, it's like, put me back in the Matrix.
put me back to where I was dumber than shit. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, some people would say that now, but
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, anyways, guys, anybody else have any comments they want to add before we blow out of here?
Thank you for sharing that with us, Steve.
Yeah, that was very nice, Steve.
I also wanted to say thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome.
These calls, they kind of make me teary-eyed most of the time. I know everyone has their struggles, and I just want to say that these calls really help. They get you thinking, and they make me feel like I can relate sometimes.
Good.
So
Thank
I
you.
just thank you.
I appreciate that.
we're
man.
all connected, bro.
We are, and this is one big family. So so thank
I'm
you.
teary-eyed.
No, Jenny, take it easy. So thank you guys all for tuning in. And the next week, the second half of this book is fantastic.
Okay.
And this Wednesday, we for Sales Mastery, we have Jennifer Murphy and Kayla Ritchie, both who did over 400,000 last year. So they're going to be really fun. Going to be sharing some sales tips and all that sort of stuff. So looking forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday. And if you could share this.
Wait,
go
you're
ahead.
taking my job.
Go ahead, Adam.
Okay.
Go
okay.
ahead.
This is my job, Chuck.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing this post onto Facebook. It's really been helping our algorithm. We've been getting more views. And again, if you see it in your timeline, feel free to just click that share button. Maybe write a nice comment on it. It really helps boost us, and it keeps.
We would appreciate it.
It keeps us all motivated, you know.
Well, you know, and this is, and I believe, and I'm not trying to be selfish, but this really is helping people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like by sharing it, like you never know who's going to grab onto it and be like, I needed that.
Thank you guys so much for being on here with us. It does mean the world. It really does.
For sure. All right. Thank you, Adam. Anything else?
Please show up on Wednesday for
Chuck.
Sales Mastery.
Yes. Yes.
And Chuck,
Yes. Vic.
everyone please show up on Wednesday at noon for training. We have an appraiser that's going to be talking about the craziness in this market and appraisals.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. You're very welcome, Lonnie. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week.
Yeah.
Go out there and make something good happen, guys.
I got this.
Talk to you soon.
I got
Don't forget
this.
it. Don't forget that. I got this. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.